This next one involves two of our favorites together again. Now the screen is black for a moment because I've rolled back the video, because when it starts, it just starts right at the end or whatever. But Dan Bongino and Megyn Kelly are about to give us a whole lesson. You know, we've been jumping to conclusions about the Russell Brands of the world and the Alex Jones of the world, and people forget they're human beings, okay? These are human beings. And you forget that they're human beings, okay? And Dan Bongino once, he's apparently, and I'm not kidding, look at the title of this video. Hold on, let me just get this over here. Look at the title of this video. Dan Bongino opens up about the real Donald Trump. Caring, loyal, and transactional. That's, if anything sums up the idiocy and the inability of Bongino to understand what fucking words mean. Caring, loyal, and transactional. What the shit? What are you talking about? It's the exact opposite. I scratch your back if you scratch mine, but only if I feel like it, and after you've already scratched my back, and fuck you. But what's in it for me? What do you mean? I already scratched your back. So, it's over. What have you done for me lately? It just happened. I don't care. Oh, God, it's amazing. Like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. There's a little Cash App thing in the corner, and then it just turned into the Venmo thing. So either way, you can help out the show. We're getting close to our goal. And when I say close, we're about 2K away from our goal of for the new computer. So if you can contribute, that's a great place to do it. Super chats also help. Memberships and subscribing, whatever site you're on, also helps. And spread the word. Let people know about the show. If you can't do any of those things, I love you and thank you for being here. I appreciate you being with me. Time is the greatest gift you can give anybody. So here we go. This is caring, loyal, and transactional. God damn.
I'm telling you, some heavenly intervention. If someone told them to call, I don't know what happened. But my phone rings, which I still had on me for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, I don't even leave. Mostly I don't carry it when I'm cheating on my wife. I always leave my phone at home.
It said unknown on the phone. So you know how it is in the business. Unknown is one of two people. It's Fox or the White House. Like, that's it. Like, no one else comes up unknown. It comes up restricted for regular. But unknown is like, you know someone, right?
Or caller ID on Bongholio's phone is as bad as his own personal reading comprehension. It wouldn't matter if the name was said there. He wouldn't get it.
So I'm like, oh, this must be Fox or something. So I pick up the phone, and it's Trump.
Oh, my God. It's that bad. He's calling Bongholio.
And, I mean, you know, Megan, I get it. Like, you've interviewed him. I've interviewed him. You know him. I know him. He's not your standard politician. You know, people...
Right. He's no longer a politician, for one, I think.
Him of being mercenary and all this other stuff. You form your own opinion. I know a different guy. But it wasn't even that he called me. It was that he was so genuinely interested in making me feel better.
Okay, we don't know why what the lead in up this is, other than maybe this is when he dealt with his cancer diagnosis. Maybe this is way back then, which is when Trump, here's the thing, Trump would only call somebody that he needed for this kind of thing.
I'm saying, like, it wasn't a perfunctory task. He already understood he had my support. It wasn't something he did. And
yeah, he doesn't have a lot of other people's support, so he can't afford to lose anybody.
I mean, come on. You got people who kiss your ass all the time. They're not really listening to you. They're just either like worshiping you or they're like waiting to talk. And that's like the worst thing ever because nothing's genuine anymore.
And he's only judging her circle and everybody works with her and everybody's around her. And that's how he thinks. And he's projecting that onto everybody around because he's either worshiping her, meaning he finds her physically attractive, or he's waiting to talk himself because he doesn't give a rat what she's actually talking about.
It's the weirdest conversation because he really wanted to know. He's like, how are you doing? I said, not that good. This thing, you see, you're going to get it. You kind of know. There's no crying on this show, just like there's no crying in baseball. He's like, how are you feeling? I said, I can't, the story just so gets to me because he's like, how are you doing? And he said, I told him what had happened. He's like, do you need me to make some kind of phone call? He's like, are you going to be okay going in there? I said, no, Mr. President, I'm gonna be all right, man. I said, I'm gonna be all right. But you know, I said, it really, you know, it just really matters that you did that you called. And it wasn't, and the funny thing is, it wasn't the first time I had spoken to him by any stretch. I mean, he's very open with his, you know, I mean, you can call him anytime. Trump will take your call. You can call him right now on the show.
Right, because he's got like 4 media outlets that will have him on now. He used to have 30.
Guarantee you he'll pick up. It wasn't the first time I talked to him, but it was just that time. I'm telling you, I don't know if some angel tapped him on the shoulder and said, call this guy. And, you know, I'm not some goofy, I don't worship politicians, Trump or anyone else.
Just Trump.
But I wouldn't have got through that. There's no way. And I was in it. My wife said, who was that? I said, you're never going to believe it. It was Trump. And we spent like 5 minutes on the phone, and all he wanted to know.
5 whole minutes. Man, I hope one day I'd have friends with that kind of depth. 5 whole minutes. When you were, what, going into the hospital for open heart surgery?
All he wanted to know was how I was doing. And if I was...
And then I said, fine, and he hung up.
...to get through this, and if I needed anything. And he said, the minute you're out of there, because you're going to make it through this, because I'm with you, God's with you. He said, I want you to come down from, the White House. And, you know, when people ask me all the time, you know, why are you so loyal to this guy? Well, there's your answer.
Yeah. Because you believe that he has a personal connection with you because he made a 5-minute call because someone on his staff who's more than likely in business with you at Parler or at Rumble said you probably better, he might be sick or something, so you might want to call him. And then he offered to make a call because it's really no effort.
And you have to understand, my loyalty and friendship will never go challenged. But that doesn't mean I don't get to question him on issues, just like he can question me on stuff. That's what true friends are. And this myth out there amongst the anti-Trump crowd that doesn't see this guy through a clear lens. They just don't. They're so blinded by their hatred that, oh, Trump demands fealty or he'll kick you out of his circle is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Why? Have you ever not given fealty to him?
I've disagreed with Donald Trump on criminal justice reform. I've disagreed with him publicly on my own radio show. I played the clip the other day about abortion, and just the other day on my podcast.
Yeah, that's because he just changed his position now.
But that doesn't mean I'm not loyal to who he is personally. But I'm also loyal.
But it doesn't mean he still would make that phone call he made years ago to you again, now that you have questioned him.
To my faith and my politics too, and he understands that. So people say, well, how can you still support him? You know why? Because Donald Trump is transactional, and so
and so am I. And I only am friends with somebody if I can get something out of it, and he's only friends with me if I can get something out of it. And so far, we can both get something out of each other, and I think that's what it's all about.
Times that's used as an insult. In politics, it's the greatest compliment ever. He understands every transaction matters. And I'm sorry to tell you, there's not a single other candidate.
What? Again, this sounds like you're saying that there's something transactional about him calling you when you're sick or when you were going into the hospital. All right, this is just stupid.
A race that's gotten that. He is transactional. When you walk in there, he is a business guy. Is he an avid pro-lifer? Anyone who tells you that's lying to your face. Not a chance. But Donald Trump understands pro-lifers got him elected. And Donald Trump understands that when Leonard Leo and others walked in there and said, we got to get Roe v. Wade out of there. And here's a good idea of judges who may lean in the pro-life direction. Who got it done? He did. While everyone else just talks shit about it. So I don't understand. Like, everybody takes that as a knock. Oh, he doesn't believe it in his heart.
Right.
Okay, so the other politicians in the past did jack shit about abortion.
It's weird. The other politicians actually didn't agree with that position and didn't do anything about it and didn't give away to the Leonard Leos of the world because they disagreed with Leonard Leo. Instead, Donald Trump went, I need these assholes to vote for me. I don't care what the fuck they get. It's not going to affect me. You think anybody in my family's going to have to travel for an abortion? I got a private plane.
I'm supposed to like them more. I'll take the doer over the talker any day. And transactional to me in politics is a compliment, not an insult.
Well, I think that this story is extraordinary because, and we've had a few people come on and tell these sort of behind the scenes stories about Trump.
Mm-hmm. Not Stormy Daniels wasn't one of them. Was none of those? Were any of them girls that were in the Miss Teen USA pageant, where he looked in their mouth to check their teeth like they were a fucking horse?
Whose number I don't have. I want to just know for the record, John, I do not have it, but maybe someday. But he's so demonized to the point where I do worry for his safety. I think he's been so, like the left likes to use the term dehumanized. I feel dehumanized by this. Is there anybody who's been more dehumanized than Donald Trump?
What are you talking about? No. His humanity is affirmed every time somebody calls him a fucking pig, because it is a metaphor. It is based on the assumption that as a man, he should be able to be better than that. He chooses not to be. That isn't dehumanizing. If somebody calls you a scumbag or those kinds of things, it's under some concept that you have the ability to be other than that. Not being dehumanized. His humanity isn't in question. His character is. And
on the other hand, you got, President Basement, right? Joe Biden, who barely puts himself out there. And when he does, like he's
just except at the UN and of course at, union gatherings and speaking to people all the time, except all the fucking time.
He's there to greet the caskets coming home from Afghanistan. He's checking his watch. But they want us to believe that guy, Uncle Joe, is the empathetic one. He's the sweet one. He's the kind one. He's the avuncular one. And Trump is...
Because to him, if you've been captured, you're still a hero.
Devil. And Trump is ornery, and he's a fighter, and he's controversial.
He's a liar, and he's gross.
He, too, is a man. He's a human. He has a heart. He has a family, as I started this off by saying.
Yeah, but he's got more sociopathic tendencies than anybody that's ever held the office.
The book, this kind of example, does a good job of putting layers on that so people can be reminded it's real. Even though he's very tough and he's a fighter, it doesn't mean...
He's not a fighter. He's a complainer.
He's incapable of being hurt, and God forbid, worse. So we need to...
Jesus Christ. Nobody thinks he's bulletproof, stupid. He only cares about pain when it's his. He's not being dehumanized. He never has been. His failings as a human being are indeed human. Lord almighty.
As you say, pump the brakes, make sure he's protected, and
he's got all the protections. Nobody's gonna fucking kill this guy. I don't want Trump assassinated, stupid. We don't need a bunch of fucking half-ass martyrs running around. I want him to grow old in jail.
The only one.
Good Lord.
Millions of Americans earn and use credit card rewards. A few big box retailers want to take those rewards away.
Wait, these are her ads?
That's according to the Electronics Payment Coalition, a sponsor of today's episode.
Great. Thanks very much. And I appreciate the George O'Keefe background. We're all very excited down here, I can tell you. Let me finish up tonight, if I can, with you guys, because I adore you. The idea that anybody on my side wants like Trump to be physically harmed is insane. It doesn't mean randos won't say shit. It never has been true. But the vast majority, and anybody sensible, anybody who's like voters and the like, that's not what we're talking about at all. That's not. Nobody's even going anywhere near that. But the illusion that they are is to create, is to castigate other people, to convict them in absentia from charges they never made. And thank you, Daphne, by the way. We were going to hang out with Bob and Kimberly, but they have stuff to do, and so we were going to take them to dinner. We'll do it the next time we're in town, or I'm going to make them come out to LA. But thank you, excellent idea, and thanks for the happy birthday, Roy. Appreciate that. My birthday is on Monday. I will be having a show on Monday, by the way. But more on that later. But I have no interest in Donald Trump being physically harmed. I think the justice that he will get by going to jail at his age, especially, would be plenty. But none of us want him martyred. That's never what this has been about. This is ridiculous. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of us are worried that he'll just keel over because of his shitty exercise and food regimen, and we'll end up having somebody think it was a deep state conspiracy to knock him off before the election. So most of us are praying that he's like happy and healthy until he's indicted, or until he's convicted, rather. But painting the picture that there's like this nefarious scheme on our side that wants him to dehumanize him, to make sure that he's a target or whatever, when it's exactly what the right does about Biden and Hunter and everybody. And I mean, it is not because of left-wing rhetoric or Democratic rhetoric that people have shot up FBI headquarters lately. It is not. FBI agents are not in physical danger because of shit that Democratic politicians and activists have said. Sorry. That's on those guys. That's on Megyn Kelly's side. So, like I said, it's just, yeah, it's grotesque, and it's a way of basically excusing him. It's akin to that whole like, I'm sorry I'm not perfect idea, where you kind of use perfection as the wall against being, halfway decent. That's what Megyn Kelly is doing. Like, if you go after him on the level that he deserves to be gone after, that means you want to assassinate him, because it has to be that extreme. Otherwise, they have to confront what he's actually doing and what he's been engaged in, and in a realistic way. And it's fucking gross, quite frankly. So why is she supporting him? Because that's the side of the bread her butter is on. That's it. So Hal has the best briefs. Oh, thank you so much. So anyways, I adore you guys. I will see you tomorrow for the radio show, the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. Wish me luck on getting everybody in on the show for that one. Whew. Not quite sure how we'll make it happen, but we will. Anyways, much love. I will talk to you guys later. And let's see, what button should I push? If I do, what happens if I push this button?